Hello sisters, welcome back to this channel, Center Women. This video is called What is the 4B Movement and Why is it Growing After the US Election? In this video, I'll discuss what is the 4B movement and why it's growing rapidly today. Here are 4 key points in this video we'll discuss. What is the 4B movement? Is the 4B movement politically left or right? How violence against women is on the rise? And lastly, we'll finish up with some personal commentary that I have to share with you. So, what is the 4B movement? The 4B movement is a radical feminist movement that seeks to liberate women from the patriarchal labor expectations of women. Started by 2 South Korean women, Jung Se-young and Baek Hana, in 2019, 4B revolves around actions or lack of action in regards to women's labor. Simply put, in English, it means no dating men, no sex with men, no marriage, and no children. In Korean, the prefix B translates to no. Given that each of these 4 tenets starts with B, this movement became known as the 4B movement. In a recent Bloomberg Quick Take interview, the founder, Baek Hana, stated that after studying feminism and non-marriage, I've started to plan and live my life more focused on myself. It's a South Korean movement to reject patriarchy by withdrawing often unappreciated and unpaid labor from women. In my opinion, this choice and movement is much needed in today's time. It's an appropriate, sane reaction to the wild, insane treatment of women. The 4B founder, Jung Se-young, stated in a past Bloomberg Quick Take interview that I saw my mom and grandma and how they lived as subordinates to their families, so the decision not to marry came naturally to me. The 2 founders have organized on social media where they share about their life and bring community around women. Is the 4B movement politically left or right? In my opinion, the women's 4B movement is neither left nor right. It is ultimately radical feminist. Andrea Dworkin, in her book Right-Wing Woman, famously wrote, "The difference between left-wing and right-wing when it comes to women is only about where exactly on our necks their boots should be placed. To right-wing men, we are private property. To left-wing men, we are public property." This can be seen as true today in American politics, given that the right wing under Trump worked to reverse Roe v. Wade nationwide through the Supreme Court, returning the issue of abortion back to states, setting off a wave of Republican-controlled states in the United States instilling total or partial abortion bans, even without the exception for rape or incest. According to this article by PBS, currently 13 states are enforcing bans at all stages of pregnancy, with some exceptions. 4 more bar abortion in most cases after about 6 weeks of pregnancy, before women often realize they're pregnant. Despite the bans, the number of monthly abortions in the U.S. has risen slightly because of the growing use of abortion pills and organized efforts to help women travel for abortion. Still, advocates say the bans have reduced access, especially for lower income and minority residents of the states with bans. What's interesting is that the part about access to abortion pills is true. Many women have been fear-mongered out of accessing abortion pills by the right wing. Why? Because it's mostly safe and highly effective. Yale Medicine states that, as for effectiveness rates, when taken before 64 days of gestation, medication abortion is reported to terminate a pregnancy between 91.6% and 99.7% of the time. Depending on how misoprostol is administered, the interval between the dose of mifepristone and misoprostol and gestational age. Many online abortion pill providers offer Plan C, mifepristone, and or misoprostol as a combination as little as $0 to $5 via distributors that I will not describe here for the sake of privacy for said providers. However, these providers are very easy to find online with a simple web search. The right has committed to banning abortion nationwide under Trump's Project 2025. Abortion in states like Texas is also outlawed even in instances of rape and incest. Something Madam Vice President Kamala Harris rallied for in her recent Houston, Texas rally on October 25th. Instead, the left-wing political force in the United States of America is often pro-pornography, pro-hypersexuality, under the guise of pro-choice feminism and pro-gender fluidity or trans rights activism. Particularly, trans rights activism has been criticized by high-profile figures like J.K. Rowling for trampling over women's rights and denying women's biological differences from men, or eroding women's sex-based safe spaces. In recent viral stories, biological males competing against females in athletic sports has made shocking headlines and pushed feminists away from left-wing politics. When gender-critical feminists try to speak out, they are mercilessly bullied and ostracized by the left to the point that the left has lost a shocking number of feminist voters. So Dworkin's adage remains true. That leaves radical feminists with no real political home base, even less so when they are from a racially marginalized group in the United States, such as African American or Native American women are. Violence against women. So why is 4B growing exponentially now if it started 5 years ago? After the election results in the US from Tuesday night, November 5th, 2024, women around the world began to realize that they cannot trust the males around them. Males who voted for Trump also voted for a civilly liable rapist. Seeing a rapist in chief seems to be emboldening misogyny and violence against women, and women have every right to be concerned. Violence against women is seemingly at all-time highs. According to statistics, nearly 1 in 5 women have been raped in their lifetime, compared to 1 in 71 males. So women are 14 times more likely to be raped than men. Who is committing all of these sexual acts of violence? Males. A staggering almost 99% of perpetrators of sexual assault are males. Here are some more statistics. While 80% of reported rapes are against white women, minorities are more likely to be assaulted. Rates of rape: white 17.7%, black 18.8%, Asian Pacific Islander 6.8%, American Indian Alaskan women 34.1%, mixed race 24.4%. The stats for non-whites are probably low since barriers to reporting would be increased for women of color. So in that they mean the statistics of reported rapes are low for women of color because there are barriers for reporting rape, including simply not being believed by the police or being shamed by one's community against exposing rapists. And lastly, new analysis shows that domestic violence against women increased by 8% in the USA during the last year of Dump's presidency. Look, I'm just gonna have to call him Dump because it's hard to even speak that creep's name. During the height of the pandemic. So it's unsurprising that women are disgusted to know that over 70 million Americans, over 1 in 5 Americans, and over 1/3 of the American electorate voted a known and woefully incompetent rapist and Epstein best friend back into the highest office of the land, if not the world itself. And who is Dump bringing in with him? His cabal of perverts and anti-feminist goons and grifters. Here's some personal commentary. Look, I don't want to depress you, but we women are really going to be in for a world of hurt from 2025 until 2029, assuming Dump is no longer in office by 2025. That's a long time though. It reminds me of what psychologists describe when discussing what it takes to leave a narcissistic relationship. The ultimate American narcissist, Donald J. Trump, successfully hoovered America, and Americans fell for it hook, line, and sinker, all because they really hated the highly qualified Democratic female candidate, Madam Vice President Kamala Harris. I mean, think about all the rapists who are going to feel awfully empowered given that we Americans have a rapist president-elect. How can a woman even want to date males when a good majority of them and their handmaidens supported this? It's safe to say that if a woman were to get with a man, she could surely face nonstop brainwashing and cajoling of her by her male partner to give up her rights and simmer down her personality for him. I also find that the mainstream media was trying to ignore the 4B movement entirely until the sheer volume of women discussing this all over the internet forced mainstream's hand to pay attention. Heck, the outpouring of women looking for 4B content is why I made this YouTube channel. There is a growing concern I have that women will become more isolated as mass violence and violence against women soars over the dump term from 2025 to 2029. With that said, now is the time to build our resistance movement stronger than ever. We as women have the ultimate power to control who is born on Earth, a power that male-led medical science research has failed to artificially reproduce outside of women over and over again. We have a biological power that males want to rob from us, which is why they are so angry about the 4B movement or women's separatism. The good news is that we will carry on stronger than ever, ignited by the incredible movement and show of strength from Madam Vice President Kamala Harris. Her efforts to rally for women's rights to bodily autonomy were historic and will not be forgotten. It's up to us to make sure that the legacy of the women who paved the way for us wasn't all in vain. Because once our rights are fully taken from us as women, it will be hard to regain them, and, if at all possible, it may take more than a lifetime to get them back. So stay vigilant, stay strong, form community with other women, and subscribe to this channel for more 4B, women separatist, and rad femme content. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for your time and attention. Share in the comments whether or not you're practicing 4B or your version of separatism and why. I'd love to hear from you. Take care and stay safe, sisters. Goodbye.